Check out this data on Bitcoin exchange outflows. On October 3rd, we saw 71,000 Bitcoin flow out of exchanges, the largest single day outflow since Q4 started. And what happened after that? Bitcoin dumped from 124,000 all the way down to $106,000. Fast forward to November 18th, just 2 days ago, another 71,000 Bitcoin left exchanges. Does this mean we're headed for another drop? So wait a minute, are exchange outflows supposed to be bullish? Don't I mean long-term holders are taking custody and holding? Why did we see Bitcoin crash instead? Today, we're going to use actual data analysis and research to reveal the truth, and the results are going to completely shatter what you thought you knew. One piece of evidence speaks for itself. What's up, everyone? Welcome to the Fuck Crypto Show. Let's dive into today's video content. As I mentioned at the beginning, everyone usually says exchange outflow represent investor buying and withdrawing from exchanges to hold long-term with confidence, right? Logically, outflows should be a more bullish signal than inflows. So the traditional concept is inflows is equal to bearish, outflow is equal to bullish, right? But why do we see prices actually crash after large exchange outflow occurred? Today, we'll use correlation method to analyze the relationship between price and exchange flows. This will help us understand what those 71,000 Bitcoin outflows 2 days ago really mean. We simply just need to collect the raw data files of exchange outflow volume and Bitcoin prices, then calculate the correlation to get the final results. Let me explain the final results in a quick and easy to understand way. Our sample is from January 1st, 2020 to November 19th, 2025, a total of 2,149 days of data samples for correlation calculation. And we discovered something important. Just look at the Pearson correlation in the lower right corner. It's negative 0.2, and this indicates a statistically significant negative correlation. This is actually very counterintuitive and against our common sense. Why? Because a negative correlation means when Bitcoin exchange outflows increase, Bitcoin actually tends to decline. And we backtested 5 years of data and found this phenomena is real. However, the coefficient of determination is 0.04, which means this exchange outflow data only explain about 4% of price changes. So using exchange outflows to predict prices has very limited predictive power. And not only is limited, but is also negatively correlated, right? So this contradicts what we usually heard that exchange outflow represent buying followed by choosing to hold long term, which should be beneficial for the market. So it's wrong, right? So seeing large exchange outflow followed by declines is actually what happened more often and historically, not outflow followed by price increase. And so right now, going back to our traditional concept, inflows equal to bearish, outflow equal to bullish. Under this research, outflow equal to bullish is not the right point anymore. So what about another traditional concept is that inflows equal to bearish, right? Could inflows actually being bullish or something, right? So to verify this, we also pull 5 years of exchange inflow data to calculate against prices again. And this is the final result. Again, just look at the lower right corner, Pearson correlation equals to negative 0.2. Also weak negative correlation, right? This means when Bitcoin exchange inflow increase, Bitcoin tends to decline. And this result align with our traditional saying that, oh, inflows equal to bearish. But again, the coefficient of determination is just 0.04, meaning that this exchange inflow data only explained about 4.9% of price changes. So we reach a conclusion is that, the conclusion is that whether it's exchange outflows or inflow, both show bearish results. Is this correct? Actually, no, because we're comparing inflows and outflow data separately. This cannot represent the entire market behavior at a given time. So what we need to look at is net flow, right? So we need to look at the net flow data to know whether exchange flows have any impact on price. Let me go straight to the final results. Looking at the lower right corner, the net flow report shows 0.04. This is a correlation coefficient close to 0. The coefficient of determination is 0.002, meaning exchange net flow data can only explain about 0.24% of price changes. And the correlation coefficient of 0.04 is very weak correlation. We can say it's almost no correlation. So now the truth is clear. In reality, there's essentially no relationship between exchange net flows and Bitcoin prices. Now it's not just that inflows equal to bearish, outflows equal to bullish has been broken down. The entire indicator has been invalidated, right? Through historical data statistics, we can find that there's indeed almost no correlation between them. This means when we see exchange net inflows or outflow data in the future, we can't really use either inflows or outflows as signal for bullish or bearish sentiment. In in reality, these two have no connection. This is the truth we discovered through actual data verification today. This video must be reach more people. If you think this is important, please share it, because we need to reorganize everyone's understanding. In reality, it cannot be interpreted this way. I didn't know this before verification either. So why is this? Simply just because when market volatility is high, both inflows and outflow increase. But which one increases more is random or influenced by other factors. So net flows will have values, will have net inflows or outflows, but there's no stable relationship with price, right? Because sometimes there's net outflows, but price rises. Sometimes net outflow, but price falls. Sometimes net inflow, but price rises. Sometimes net inflows, but price falls. So when you actually put these two data set together to compare, it's really very random. You can't call it a bullish or bearish indicator. So we have broken down this data's ability to predict price movement. Now let's go back to the data from the beginning. This data shows that on October 3rd, 71,000 Bitcoin flow out of exchanges, the largest exchange outflow since entering Q4, right? Then 2 days ago, another 71,000 coins flow out. Since the last 71,000 coins outflows was followed by a decline, will this 71,000 coin outflow also be followed by a decline? Actually, we can't say that, because ultimately looking at this net flow data is basically has no significant relationship with price movement. That's the final conclusion. And so yesterday we actually already showed you guys the whale data, right? That whale data actually has relatively stronger predictive power and suggests that in the next 30 days there may be a certain degree of rebound, right? And this is more useful data that has support backing this judgment method. But for exchange inflows and outflows, you need to reorganize your understanding. In reality, it has no significant relationship with price changes. You also can't say that, oh, inflows mean price will drop or outflows mean price will rise. This actually doesn't hold. So if you like my analysis, remember to subscribe. Today's video content is not investment advice. Remember to subscribe. Thank you guys so much. Remember to join our Discord to check out my the bot that I created. So thank you guys so much. Thank you.